Hey everyone, welcome to the next episode of the Brave Entrepreneur podcast. Sorry, I'm already tongue-tied. I'm Jena Rodriguez, your host, and I am super excited to introduce you to Sue, and we'll get to her introduction in just a moment. But I just want to remind you what this show is all about and who I am. I am a brave and business and brand strategist, and I really love supporting entrepreneurs getting their brave on and taking their business to a whole new level, like really rise to the occasion. And I just love having our guests on this show because we get to hear other people's journeys about what it took them to get to where they are. So we get to see the inside scoop and not just look from the outside and the Instagram photos and the Facebook images and things like everything's hunky-dory. We get to really understand what it's taken to be where they are. And so today's guest is Sue. How are you, Sue? Welcome aboard. How are you today?
I am great, Jena, and I just love the whole premise of your show. So I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, it's something I kind of organically arrived at, in this brave conversation. And then I realized, wow, that's what I've been my whole life, is just the brave is what's taken me from step to step to step. And so I was like, if I've done that, then I know there's other amazing entrepreneurs out there that have done it as well. And so here you are, right?
I'll claim it. I don't know if it's true, but I'll take it.
Take it. I bestow upon you. Yes, you are a brave master. So tell everyone what you are all about and what your business is all about.
Okay, well, the audience that I serve, I lovingly call gifters, bakers, crafters, and makers. So they're people who have a tangible product that they want to bring to market. Many of my audience are people who are turning hobbies or crafts into a business. And I do this in a couple of ways. I have a physical product, hence you can see there's a ton of ribbon here. I sell custom ribbon printing machines through a company called the Ribbon Print Company. But mostly I think we're here to talk about my Gift Biz side, Gift Biz Unwrapped, which is a podcast, and also teaching people how to do this, how to make that transition from maybe it's a 9-to-5 or maybe not. Maybe it's just something they want to do on the side to earn a little bit of extra money. But lots of us have crafts, right? Or we bake red yummy cookies or something, and people think about monetizing it and they're just not sure what to do. So that's what I help people with.
I love that. It's such a niche. I think it's amazing that you've really niched down to, what's your specialty. And I'm an artist. I do have a creative streak. I wasn't a baker, but I love creating art and, being creative. I just went towards a digital method called branding, right? and yeah, I think it's amazing to be able to look at how do you monetize those crafts and creative outlets that people have, and sometimes you can just choose a hobby, but I think there's also such a missed opportunity for many people because they just don't know where to start. So I think it's brilliant that you help.
You know what? Either they don't know where to start, or they start like in the middle without actually preparing themselves to be able to make money.
Yeah.
So this whole group I just adore because they're so creative, they're so passionate about their product, and all you want to do is help them succeed. That's it. And there are some real challenges that this community individually faces. So it's different from being online or, working for somebody else or creating courses or teaching or doing services.
Right.
So, that's what we go through and approach and, make sure that they're on the right path.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. And so how long have you been doing that, supporting those individuals?
With the Ribbon Print Company, we've been around for about 8 years now, and
Okay.
Gift Biz has been out about 4. So
wonderful. Yeah. So I ask because I know the journey to that for yourself might have brought its own challenges. So what's been your bravest, journey or experience through all of that?
Well, I don't know if I was just blessed with this, or I might even call it cursed. I'm not sure, but I am totally an action taker. So I wouldn't say I'd rush to action, but I have never had a problem getting started, and I think that's where a lot of people can be challenged. However, interestingly enough, after I left my corporate life, I wanted to stay home with the kids for a little bit.
Got it.
I wasn't pushed out of corporate. I loved my job. I was rising the ladder, the whole thing. But my kids were getting older, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't put this off until later. I have to do it now. So I stayed home for a while, but as many of us all know, that's why we listen to this podcast, right? We like business. We like, that's part of what we love to do.
Yeah.
And so when I started thinking about getting back into the work, field, I wasn't sure exactly what. My old company was like, oh, Sue's in the market, come back. And I'm like, no, I don't want that corporate stuff anymore, because I'd been gone. I didn't want to travel anymore, all of that kind of thing. But the interesting part of that whole story is it was my husband who had to say to me, well, Sue, why don't you just start something yourself? You've been consulting forever, everyone else's business. Why don't you start something? And once he said that, it like hit me like, yeah, but someone had to tell me that.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that someone else had to tell me instead of now. And that's not that long ago, less than I had another business also before what I'm doing now.
Got it.
Which did not fail, by the way. I just transitioned because I saw something else I liked better. But it was interesting that someone had to tell me that. So I think in terms of being brave, then taking the next steps and figuring it out from there. Actually, a thought is one thing, but doing something is totally different.
Yep.
So I like to bring up that story because I think there's a lot of people out there, and I would say probably more women who don't give themselves permission to think about it that way.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to tell that story.
I love that. It's so funny. We actually definitely have some parallel. I was in corporate America and, loved the company and I was a controller. So numbers came easy to me and, all of that.
You're one of those.
I'm one of those. Yes. The 50-50 brain, right? The numbers and the creative. Yeah. And it's funny because I struggled with that a little bit, right, throughout my life, because the job would be one or the other in some way. And I would try to pull in the creative part inside of like accounting and it was difficult, right?
Is that possible? Can you put numbers together?
The only way I could do it was I was creating checklists and I was creating methods and I was creating like systems and and the ideation, and so of course, then it started rising me to manager and like, bringing me up the ladder, like you mentioned, yet it wasn't, kind of the ultimate for me. So, and I really wanted to go do my own thing, but I think this is such a powerful point to make. Like you said, the story is, and thank God for your husband, right? He said something, right? Sometimes I don't know if people say something that says, hey, we see this in you. And if we can instill anything, in anybody watching or listening, is give yourself permission to consider it, that you could do something on your own and you could make your own way and you could create your own clients and things like that. And it does, I think you hit another nail on the head and I speak to 3 things that brave is, and you said it basically, decision. And I say commitment in there because like a decision is just a decision, right? It's just a thought. But the commitment and then the action, which I love the fact that you speak to action. And I'm with you. I think action is a choice, right? I think we got to choose it. But what keeps you in action, especially when it gets tough or you don't know what direction to go?
My focus on my clients, I think.
Got it.
I keep a little list of testimonials or when people have said something nice and, like on a rough day, sometimes I have to look at that. Yep. And I'm not going to lie. There are times when I like say to myself, why did I get myself into this? Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Because I can get so frustrated and my assistant will be like, Sue, go home, go to bed. I'll see you back here in the morning. She's totally right. Like, just get away for a little bit.
Yes, quit for the day.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But, and I also tell people, when you start your own business, and I have to take that for myself too, is when you start your own business, you had a vision of what you wanted to do. And then when you're actually living in it with reality, with the challenges and everything that comes with it, sometimes you forget that that's what you really wanted. So when you take yourself out of that space and you look in at yourself and you're like, yeah, I want to be that person. Well, guess what? You are now. You know, so you have to remember, you have to have that perspective that with all those good things also come, you know, some of the rougher things that you didn't necessarily think about before.
Yeah. What would you say would be like the most recent moment or challenge that you personally had that you had to kind of give yourself some pep talk and get some brave on about? What was something most recent?
That's easy.
I'm like daily.
Yeah, and like 3 months ago it would have been something else. But
right.
I have been thinking about writing a book forever. And I just have to bring it up this way because I already told you I'm an action taker, right?
Right.
And I've had this book in outline form for 2 years. 2 years, okay? It's in Scrivener, it's in outline form, all of that. And it just never went to the top of the priority list, okay? And I've been telling my assistant about it and whatever. Well, I'm in social media marketing world this year. And self-publishing school, Chandler Bolt. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he had a booth there.
He's new to me.
And he helps teach people how to get their books to market, right?
Got it.
And I already knew I was going to self-publish. I mean, it was on my radar. And I'm walking by the booth, and then I'm going to looking at other booths, and then walk back again. And finally, I decide, well, I'm going to make an appointment and sit down with a coach and just see what they have to say. And ends up, the story is, I hired a coach just to push me through it, right?
I love that.
And within literally less than 3 months, the book is written and it will be out. And nice. I really didn't mean to bring that up as like the self-promotion thing, because that's not my point. It's that I just decided, you know what? Enough already. I've been saying it forever. It's hanging over my head. Not that really I was putting it off. It wasn't that. But I just decided this was the time for action. And I'll tell you, writing that not so little check for a coach, right?
Yep. Decision.
Yeah. I just did it. And then I'll really tell the secret. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, should I have done this? It's a lot of money. Should I have done it? Should I not? Do I have the time to do it? Now I'm committed. And so I'm messaging my assistant, and she says to me, well, it's about time. You've been talking about this forever. So then I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then it was just the action of making sure to do it. And you can apply this, I'm talking about this for my book, but you can apply it to anything, any project, anything that you have to do. Is you look at the whole thing at once and it looks overwhelming. If you just break it into little pieces, little by little, and even those pieces that you don't like writing was excruciating, because that's where I got gotten stuck that whole time. It's just putting the whole thing in. I knew what I wanted to say, just filling it all in, but just, pedal to the metal, driving into it and getting it done step by step by step by step.
Yeah, and I love that, because I think it's the steps that we take or don't take that envelop the commitment, meaning, you made a decision, you could have said, here's the money, that's one more commitment. But then beyond that, you have to commit to your decision. So you could have, the backtrack, right? Oh my gosh, what did I just do? And all that doubt. And, sometimes the double, I call it the double check, right? It's like, what did I just do? And yet commitment is every day. It's not just once, right? And so I think you can apply this message to anything that we set ourselves out to do that's uncomfortable or haven't gotten done in 2 years, or, but you obviously have something to say. You've got tons of experience. You're helping an amazing niche of individuals that need to get their, their craft and their art and their, creative out. And so, yay, congratulations, first of all. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just great.
While we're recording, it's actually 2 weeks from today it's launching. So
Yeah, it'll be done by the time this shows up.
Yeah, it's still a little freaky, and you're vulnerable. Anytime, whether it's an online course, whether you're opening your business for the first day, like the grand opening,
right?
All of those things make you feel so vulnerable.
Yeah.
But that's what we kind of buy into as an entrepreneur,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things people they say yes to business, but they don't realize what they're saying yes to. Right. And it, and it unfolds. However, that's why I love this show, because we're unfolding the journey that you've been on, or whoever the guest is next. But it's about, everybody gets to those kind of non-negotiable requirements of business: vulnerability and transparency and uncomfortableness and brave and all those different things that business requires. And I'm just curious, in that conversation, what's been like the hardest thing for you to overcome, or to get comfortable with, or learn, for that matter, when it comes to being a business owner?
What's the biggest thing that has been challenging for me? I think the unknown and feeling like I should be further along than I always think I am. You look to other people online, you look at their Facebook pages, you look at what their business looks like, and we all do that comparison thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's that, like, and I was in corporate for a long time,
Right.
I mean, I'm not 20 anymore, right? So I'm feeling like I should know and be farther along sometimes than I really am. But here's the secret. I learned this over and over again. When there's somebody that I've been knowing from afar or something, and then I get to know them and we're friends, or, I speak with them, or I find their story because I hear it on a podcast or something, everybody has these insecurities, has challenges, compares themselves to other people.
Right.
And you can't always look at what initially things are presented to be in the world, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, and I still always have to tell myself this, because I feel like I'm in a rush always to get to that next place, instead of, and I tell my son this all the time, enjoy the journey. He got the entrepreneurial bug, oh well. But, enjoy the journey, enjoy even the things that don't work. It's all part of the process to get where you're going.
Right.
And the real truth is, once you get where you think you want it to be, you push the ball out further, right? So you want to go further.
Yeah.
So it's just recognizing that it's really your own individual journey. And that's taken me a while. And I still have to tell myself.
And I love that you brought that up, the comparison monster. It's such, I go through it myself, because I'm like you. I'm a gold digger, right? I'm like, let's get to the goal, right? And so I've learned patience and the enjoy the journey conversation. And yet there's still I guess that's the ambition, right? That there is this other thing I want to get to. And I'm with you. Like, sometimes it's just not your time, and I talk about this thing called pace, right? Pace yourself. And, and it's like, and everything has its right place for where you are. So get to where you're going. And I just think it's a huge conversation for people to really, listen to, is how to step out of the comparison mode and, and count your accomplishments and count, it's like, look at your brag list or look at your testimonials and look at what you've accomplished, and not just look at what you haven't accomplished or compared to someone else out there. So
right.
Yeah, it's really good that you brought that up, because I deal with it too. Like, and that's part of this show for me is like, I want people to see like who Sue really is and what Sue's had to go through, and what, and it's like, because it might look all, shiny and new out there on social media, but there's vulnerability that, really has taken place in order to get there. So
to get where you are. Yeah. And it's so crazy that, because, you hear the stories of, like, Barbara Streisand still gets nervous if she goes on stage.
Right.
Are you kidding? Like, how many stages has she been on? She has to prove herself. Like, even if she were to mess up one time, nothing would happen. She's proven herself.
Right.
So it just shows, it's natural. It's just the way it is. They say you have to start being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yes.
So you'd kind of think the uncomfortable would stop at some point. And in a way it does.
Right.
I mean, but in a way it does, right? Because I'm not uncomfortable going on. Well,
Right.
or once you do things over and over, like I'm not afraid to go on camera anymore. We were talking earlier before the show about my little Periscope thing, the sign, right? And Facebook Live now and going on camera or going on stage and speaking. I love that stuff. I was nervous about that earlier. That's not uncomfortable for me anymore because it's not unknown, right? But there are other things that are really super uncomfortable because I've never done them before.
Yeah.
Why I keep stretching more and more is a question. but it's because
it's the magic though. It's the magic.
I think that's it. You just keep reaching for more, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like all those things that you listed is exactly what I've had to get okay with. And I still get nervous, like speaking and like Facebook Live initially, or even this podcast, like seriously, like was so scary. Like, oh my gosh,
the first podcasts for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now you just get on because you're in your flow, right?
Yeah, right. I don't care what people think. Like, enjoy it or don't, but this is what we're doing right now. There's a trick. I brought in my friend, she was a business owner and a colleague, but she's like my best friend. I said, you're going to be my first episode because if I totally bomb this, then we can redo it, right? And she won't care.
It's true. There's a trick that I talk to people about that, if they're going on stage for the first time or they're doing Facebook Live or like whatever it is. Right. Well, first off, all that stuff, you can just do private ones to yourself to get the feel for it, so that's easy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you stop looking at yourself, like you stop focusing inward, like, am I saying the right words? Is my lighting right? All of that. Yeah. And you focus on the message that you're trying to give your audience. You're focused on them and what it is that you're trying to relay to them that will be helpful. All of a sudden, that little imposter thing that's sitting right here on your shoulder sometimes is gone. It just vanishes.
Correct.
When you're not thinking about inward, you're thinking outward to your audience and who you're serving.
Yeah.
So that really helps.
That's totally what I do. I love that, and it is a powerful reminder because when we get too self-consumed, then, we freeze. I mean, we're not going to get the job done. And and that's what this is about, right? Us showing up today is about who's watching and, of course, us connecting. I love meeting you. And
yeah, likewise.
Right. And yet we want to serve the world at large in some way. So it can't be about us. It has to be about them. Yeah.
And there's another secret there too. We're not as important as we think we are.
No.
Right? Like people aren't caring if we trip when we've walked from yours, like something like
exactly.
that. Only we care. We're not that important.
We're not that important. Just knock it off. I love it. I love it. So speaking of, I definitely want to make sure that the audience watching is able to connect with you. What's the best way to do that?
I think the best way, I put together a page for you. It's GiftBiz Unwrapped /Brave Entrepreneur. And there are a couple of different ways. I'd love, if you are someone who is an aspiring or a starting entrepreneur, gifter, baker, crafter, maker, come check out my show. It's called GiftBiz Unwrapped. I also have a little quiz there, free quiz, where you can understand where you are along your journey. And this isn't a quiz like where the results end up showing up on Facebook. It's not that. It's just something for only you. And then I also think I'm going to put the link to my book over there. So all of that, and that sits right on my website page. So if you jumped over there, you'd also see the website and all that. I think that's the best place to direct people.
Yeah, perfect. I think so too. And I appreciate that. Thanks for making the page and giving such high value for everyone listening and watching. And I just really appreciate that. So, it's, I think a huge part of this conversation is I keep hearing you kind of repeat it, is figure out where you are and where you want to go. And then, it's kind of like that identification process and assessment process. And I think you can do that periodically. It's not just one time and done, but it's just really looking at where you are, not to compare to where other people are, but to know, okay, this is current and that's where I want to go. And what do I need to do to get there? And what support do I need? So I love that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So, okay, couple more questions and then we'll move along. So one, what does brave mean to you? What's your definition?
Brave means taking the chance.
Yeah.
You know, taking action, taking the chance, regardless of whether it works or not.
Yep. Yep. Simple as that. Trust me.
So simple, yet as scary as that.
Yeah. Right? Be willing to be scared. One of my clients say, do it scared, right? Just do it scared.
And be willing, you know, people always say fail, you know, well, okay, fail, but be willing to learn and experiment, right? And then whatever you've learned, okay, so you know that this didn't work that way. Try something different. You know, it doesn't mean, okay, close the door and you're done. It's never going to work. It just means you put that, okay, that part didn't work. Move on to something else.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's such a testing ground, right? It's just a huge experiment, right? You got to have the guts to keep experimenting when it doesn't work.
And when you're tired,
yes,
and you feel like just throwing in the towel, you go home and go to bed and show up again the next day.
That's right.
Back off for a little while.
And have assistants that tell you to do so.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Okay, final question. So if this was your very last interview, there was no more, right?
Yeah.
And so you had this one opportunity to tell the world that message, whether it's your kids or the people you serve or whoever it is in the world. What would you want them to know and walk away with?
I think that the saddest thing is somebody who thinks about doing something their whole life. You know, in my world, it's someone who knits and wants to do something bigger with it, or makes candles, or like whatever it is, and talks about it, and never does it, never takes that step. And I think the saddest thing would be to get near the end, you know, for it to be the last interview and not to have tried, you know, not, you know, to have any regret that you didn't at least see what it could become. I think that would be my message, is don't let that happen. You know, if you have an idea, you have a thought, there's plenty of information out here. We are so lucky with the internet. Take the chance. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Be brave, take the chance, and I love that.
Take the chance.
We will cheerlead you on all the way.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Sue. I so appreciate your message and your just your generosity and being here today. So thank you so much.
This has been really fun. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so everyone watching, listening, please take her words to heart. That is actually one of my my feelings too, is that, unrealized human potential is just a waste. So let's not do that, right? Let's go take a chance.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that. And I still have more potential, so I got to keep going, right? So we got to keep moving. And so if you love the show, if you liked it, if you got something out of it, please give us a review on iTunes or leave a comment on the website, wherever you saw it, or in Facebook, wherever you see this and hear this message. Let us know what you think. We want the feedback. I know Sue would appreciate it as well. And if you want to be a part of a community, I have a free Facebook group that you can join at bravemasters.com/bravefb. That's FB for Facebook. So just come join us in the Facebook group, where it's highly engaged, highly supportive, and we're supporting each other on getting our brave on every single day. So, and I definitely love business training and growing your business as well. And that's what we do in that group. So I love you. I appreciate you. And I know that this message is powerful. So please take it to heart. And let us know what has changed in your world because of it. And until next time, let's go get our brave on, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.